R.I.PRESENTS.
Sea people, mountain people. Erosion. Continued last time. Ryoji was stunned for a while when he saw the situation as if there had been little damage from the tsunami in the town and nothing had happened. So he came up with the idea of going to Kushiro, where he had been interested for a long time. And after stopping at Cape Erimo, he headed for Kushiro. When he arrived in Kushiro, it was already dark, so he hurried to find a place to stay. Searching around Kushiro city, he found a slightly older inn. The signboard said that it was 4,500 yen per night without meals. He thought it would be better to stay cheaper, so he parked the car and asked the receptionist if there was a room and if there was a parking lot. Then, he replied that he was ready, and he was relieved. After parking the car in the parking lot and being escorted to his room by a person who appeared to be the female host of the inn, Ryoji, who had not eaten anything since the morning, asked the female host where the nearest convenience store was. The female host told me that there was a convenience store along the national highway about a 5-minute walk away, so he immediately walked to buy food. At the convenience store, he chose his favorite fried lunchbox and oolong tea for dinner, bought pastry bread and coffee for breakfast, and went back to his room. Come to think of it, there were many food shops until I got here, but I forgot my hungry and drove. When he opened his bento while thinking so. Yes, I'm going into the room. The female host opened Fusuma and entered the room with a blue bucket in her hand. And an acquaintance of mine brought it to me. So you eat this, the female host said, handing him a bucket. When he received the bucket, the inside was a mountain of Hanasaki crabs. Even though he was surprised at the sudden thing, thank you. When he thanked her, female host said, good, good, and left the room and went back. When he was surprised and stared at the bucket for a while, memories of his childhood suddenly came to mind. When I was in the 4th or 5th grade of elementary school, I went there to see fishermen putting the fish they had landed into boxes, which was unusual. And then, brother, do you want fish? Take this. When the fisherman called out and pointed, there was a large amount of kajika in the wooden box. Yeah, he answered so and tried to bring it home, but the fisherman who was watching the scene, not the weight lifted by the power of the child pull it. The fisherman's uncle laughed and called out, I thought I could carry it that way, so I replied, "Yep," and slowly dragged it with both hands. The weight of the box was painful for a child's hand, and on the uphill climb on the way, it was so painful that it brought tears to my eyes. Still, when I pulled the box hard and brought the fish home, my family was very surprised. When I told my family about the situation, the family welcomed me, and my grandma cooked immediately and lined it up for dinner. Remembering such an event, I started eating crabs while feeling happy about the luxury unique to Hokkaido. Then IT tried to devise it. A little crab meat and crab miso were put on the rice of the lunchbox. It made it to the style of a little rice bowl, and the superb taste was tasted. But he couldn't eat all the crabs by himself, so he left only one crab for breakfast and carried the rest to the female host, saying, "It was a feast. Thank you very much." When he said this and handed the bucket to the female host, the female host asked with a smile, "Was it delicious?" "Yes. Thank you." When Ryoji answered, female host smiles, "It was good, it was good." Saying that, female host went inside with a bucket, thinking that he was a gorgeous host. He went back to his room after seeing her walk away, and was so tired that he immediately fell asleep that day. When he woke up in the light of the next morning, the time was a little past 7 o'clock, and it was a cold morning with white breath. As soon as he awoke, he turned on the oil fan heater, wrapped a blanket around his body, and sat still. Realized that even though he had eaten a lot last night, he was very hungry. When the room warmed up a little, he ate yesterday's crab and fried chicken. After breakfast, he calmed down and thought about his plans for today. In the land of Kushiro, what he had always been interested in was food and wetlands. However, the sea and the mountain are familiar, but the image of the wetlands does not float at all. Because of the unknown, adventure is a man's romantic. He changed his mind and decided to see what it was like. After that, the action was early. It prepared for departure, it left the room, it thanked the female host, it left the inn, and it got into the car to go to the destination. For the purpose of heading to Kushiro wetlands. When he got into the car, he immediately started aiming for Kushiro wetlands, but this is the land he came to for the first time, so he doesn't know the road well. Kushiro wetlands is famous, so he thought there would be a guide board and started running. But contrary to his thoughts, he could not find it even if he searched. He got lost, so when he asked a passerby nearby for directions to the marshland, he told me that the nearest observation deck was to find a sign for the Animal Protection Center at the intersection where he went along Road 53. And that if you turn right at that intersection, there is an observation deck ahead. He said a thank you and ran the car, but in fact, he learned of the existence of observation deck for the first time. In his mind, he reflected a little on himself for acting without any investigation. And as he drove off as taught, he was relieved that a sign listed 53 appeared shortly after. After a while, a signboard indicating the direction of the observation deck and the Wetland Wildlife Conservation Center appears. And if you follow the signboard and turn right, the rest is a single road. He was driving, feeling a little uplifted. Then, the scenery like the marshland was seen in the right-hand side. At first glance, it looked like an ordinary grassland, but as he drove along, thinking it might be the edge of the marshland, he came into view of what appeared to be a swamp wildlife conservation center. He showed a little interest in the place, but as he passed, the road beyond was a normal one. As he ran a little further, he saw a signboard of the Hakato ruins on the right side of the road. Normally, he was not interested in history at all, but this signboard was something worrisome. And when he looked at it a little, he turned the steering wheel to the right and turned the car to the Hakato ruins. Today's story ends. Videos are updated every Saturday. Please subscribe to my channel.
See you again.